So, welcome. Sound should be there. Video should be there as well. And welcome to another live stream. Today, we will talk about mainly the insider trades of big companies that got just released. And I will tell you that many inside people from these public companies are currently buying stocks. And what does it all mean? We will dive into which directors bought recently stocks, how much they bought, how much is this in the correlation of history, and many other topics. So as you see, the studio is in red. This means that the overall market is today red, where we would like to go first in. We will dive into the market first before going to the main topic. And if we should have a green day the next days, then the studio will be looking like that. All right? So just as an explanation to the color theme of the overall stream. So we have a couple of people already in, so we could start and go into the market. Let's see what the market is giving us. So let's see, the Dow Jones is about 2% down today. As you know, over the weekend, over the Easter weekend, we had a couple of news that came out, positive news obviously, that the OPEC did a deal, which is very good for the market. It's bringing some stability, but I think now as everything is done, maybe it's not that stimulus in the end of the day, right? Because the demand of oil is still down, and we see a big down pull for the Dow Jones today. It started a little bit higher, then we lost about 2% in the first 1.5 hours of trading, and went then more or less stabilized in the whole day or rest of the day. We still have a couple of hours, and the S&P the same. Lost about in the beginning, in the first couple of hours, and then went a little bit up. Then it went down a little bit up, and so this is the market situation today for the indexes. But we have also some super flyers here. A super flyer today is, for example, Amazon. Beautiful 5.45%. As you might follow my vlogs, you know that I said, Amazon stock will be one of the big winners here in the stock market, and I'm pretty impressed by the output. I ordered by myself a lot of Amazon items the last couple of days. Let me just switch something on here, and then I will be right back. All right, here we are. So Amazon, one of the flyers today, obviously very good here in the very beginning. Not much lost directly here, a little bit in the beginning, but overall the chart looks just very strong today, and we see that this news of they want to engage 75,000 more workers here in for competing with the demand of online sales. This is absolutely ridiculous. Again, I think one of the big winners. Also Shopify, one stock that I recommended just recently. I think Shopify will be one of the big winners of this new generation of stocks and e-commerce. Also Tesla, 11.6% today, almost 12%, and there are, I think, two big reasons for that. Number one reason that Tesla is up today is there's huge news from China that Tesla got about 20,000 reservations for the new performance model, as well as for the long-range model that they will produce in China now as well. And they the Ford company will project some losses of about $600 million because of the overall situation. So, very good news for Tesla right here. And that's why we are up almost 12%, just scratching here on the 640 mark. And this is the price that we had about back in about 10th of March. 10th of March, we was the last time at 630 or 640. This is quite impressive. The overall, yesterday we was 50% or 60% plus. Now we already 77% plus from the recent lows. And other winners here are also Beyond Meat is up. Netflix is big up today. And, overall the market, Nasdaq is also a little bit down. Daimler is up 6%. But that's it. So the market is, the overall market is negative. And I just said it to the very first guys who just joined the live stream. So as you see, we have this interactive lighting here. And because it's a red day, obviously it's red. And when it's a green and positive day, we very kindly will switch to green again. Okay, so let's see who is in the chat. Because as always, I'm always want to know where are you guys watching. And also let me know your questions in the comment section, because this is the section that I can have a look and answer. So who is there? Cybertruck, Ferrari is there, DRK is there. So some of the regulars, very nice to see you guys. But I would like to go with you guys directly into the main topic, which I started this stream about. And therefore I will show you one of the graphics, which is the following. So this is news report, maybe something in general first. So as you know, public companies have different directors, and these directors obviously have inside knowledge, right? So they know how the company is doing, what is the sentiment, or what is the overall situation inside the company. Maybe they know if there is soon a big contract or a big recovery. And so this purchases by this internal people, this inside people, need to be recorded to the SEC, the Security Exchange Commission in the US, and therefore they publish then reports who bought internally stocks, because in the end of the day they could know a little bit more about what's going on, and therefore it's giving investors also a look, hey, if a lot of the inside people are buying, maybe there is something good coming, and if they are selling, obviously, this can mean that, it's not going so well. So let's dive into this 4 examples here. So we see Carnival Cruise. This is one of the biggest. There's a biggest, one of the biggest cruise ships here, obviously, and they lost hugely in the hugely on this crisis so far. They were one of the most affected people here at companies, obviously the cruise lines. And here the Carnival director Randall Weisenberger bought an astonishing $10 million worth of shares last week. Carnival Cruise Line company, which is hit significantly, and however, as a consequence of its recent capital rise and debt offering, it has sufficient cash for many months. This purchase puts some confidence in the turnaround for the stock after declining of 70 6%. As we have seen, Carnival is about 10% down today. So Mr. Randall could buy also a little bit cheaper, I guess. But I think it's, this is also backdated data. So maybe he bought like a week or two back, when the Saudi deal was announced, as you might know. So the next stock that apparently internal guys and internal employees are interested to buy more stocks are here MGM Resorts International. As you know, this is one of the biggest Vegas casino brand out there. MGM, I stayed I think twice or three times in this facility. It's amazing. It's really great. The service is great. One of the big I think there's the David Copperfield show inside, which is also very much to recommend. Very nice. So apparently, also here, who is buying directors Paul and Keith bought respectively 4 million and 1.1 million worth of shares, adding 22 million worth of insider purchase in prior weeks. So also here, and this is also what I said or said in the last streams as well, I think casino stocks will be one of the biggest rebounds stocks. And also since a couple of days, since I know about the Saudi deal for Carnival, this is like having unlimited funds available for financing Carnival, and I think this two sections can be, so Carnival from the cruise lines, other cruise lines I'm not interested in, but also the Vegas stocks, MGM. My favorite is Wynn, because of the overall brand and the overall balance sheet it looks amazing, and therefore I believe that those are really potential winners of this when everything comes back to normal. So let's see. So this two companies insiders are buying right now, and let's have a look who else is buying. Obviously, Amazon Director Indra purchased 193k of own shares during the last week. Amazon is a well-known e-commerce and cloud computing service provider. Also, the company is operating in retail, Whole Foods business, viewing services, Prime, and many other businesses. The company has created a lot of shareholder value in the past by both growing revenues and margins significantly. The operating margin of 5.05% has much room for growth. The FCF yield of 2.34 looks quite expensive. So, also Amazon, as I said yesterday, I think, or the days before, so yes, Amazon will have one of the biggest quarters that they ever had. So stay tuned to that. Obviously today was not the good day of purchasing. I think one of the reasons that what you have to consider, I think the market volume will be low today because we are still some kind of Eastern time and Eastern holidays, and therefore you have to imagine that the low volume of stock trading means that stocks can go very much high or very much low, so the overall jumps and changes can be quite significantly in one of the other directions, and therefore beware of that. That's why you see Tesla 11-12%, Amazon 5%, so if there's more volume, then people would use this to sell some stocks, in my personal opinion. So but let's have a look do we have any questions so far? I don't want to miss on any questions. So, of course, Amazon DRK. Of course, Amazon is doing well. Everyone is at home ordering supplies. I totally agree. Have they figured out how to keep them safe in the warehouse? I have no idea. This is one of my fears that I just saw recently this video by Jeff Bezos where he walks around and say hi to everybody. It looked safe. but what is safe in the current days, right? So I think they're doing their best. I think they have the resources, and they also will be PR wise as well as security wise, do their best to make all the precautions. Your opinion on GM and Ford, Q1 and Q2 earnings, bankruptcy. Well, Ford just announced that they are very heavily negative in this quarter or in the foreseeable future. So I think that I think it's definitely negative. So the Q1 will be not so nice for both companies, for sure. But I think both are candidates for bailouts of the government, of the US government, because, there's a deep cultural, typical US companies, and so many people are working for those companies. And you have to also consider that both times that the government did a bailout for those kind of companies, they always won. And there's one big, let's say, moral obstacle that the Federal Reserve, by pumping so much money in the market, doesn't have right now. So look back at 2008. 2008 was the financial crisis caused by financial institutes that was very, very uncautious about the consequences of their dealing with prime market loans and mortgages and the housing market. And the Fed by then did very less compared to now. Now, the Fed is just putting a financial bazooka after every week they have a new super weapon that they use against this thing. And this is because they don't have any moral obligation, right? There's not someone to put finger on. This is a health situation, and therefore I believe that they can put the money that the market will need. And this is a point for the bull side, that the bulls will be the winners of this whole after we will go through different kind of section and waves, obviously, and therefore this is just a small anecdote on the side, that consider that the government will spend a lot of stimulus and money to rescue companies, to rescue jobs, to rescue the economy, and to get on track as fast as possible, faster than the 2008 crash. So I'm very much, let's say, curious what we will see in the next couple of weeks. So what we have here, your opinion on GM. Okay, we had that. Cybertruck is also hoping for Ford and GM to chapter 11. Yes, DRK is telling us, please remember to hit the thumbs up button. Obviously, for some mysterious reason, YouTube likes when videos and live stream get a lot of thumbs up. So don't forget to thumb up this video as well. Ferrari is asking, what are your thoughts on Netflix Q1 earnings report next week? I feel like it will go up these days. Absolutely. I will show you something. Let's dive into one of my favorite research tools that is absolutely for free. And this is Google Trends. You just type in Google Trends in Google, then you will see Google Trends, and then you type in, for example, Netflix, and then you will see how much people really watched or searched for it, actually, right? And I like to put this into a 5-year perspective, and then you see that the recent graph, so apparently just something general with Netflix, you see here the bumps are somewhere always around the new year. So here you see a very big search terms for Netflix in December 2018, and then it went down a bit, and then again, I guess this will be also December, January. So apparently always December, January, the people try to get onto Netflix much more. Maybe they see something, hey, I want to I want to be part of this streaming community and talk with my friends about new series and so on. So as you can see, yeah, it's like systematically, right? So you see here every beginning of a year you see this spike. But what happened when we are all sitting at home and have nothing to do and want to watch something nice? Obviously, we go to Netflix and subscribe. Look at this graph. This is bigger, almost that big like here it was, but it's definitely bigger than the last December, January spike, which is a sign that a lot of people are using Netflix these days. They are subscribing, they are watching all the new interesting series. I think there's also a great content chance for Netflix these days because, as you know, there was Ozark, one of my favorite series here, Ozark, and also we have seen the Tiger King. I think was a pretty good hit. So you know there is a coincidence between great content and this opportunity. So I think, long answer to your short question, yes, I think Netflix will absolutely crush the earnings. Okay. DRK is from Atlanta, Georgia. Nice. Tomorrow is going to be a very interesting when the FTSE comes back. Yes, greed and this had caused the 0.8 fall. The Fed need to be careful who they help. That's true, but always remember that the Fed can be super creative. Maybe the Fed is more creative than Disney. Maybe. You know, I think, you know, this can happen, that they are more creative than Disney. However, so who else is asking questions here? Let me go through it. Jacob, what happened to all vests? Yeah, what happened to all vests? You know, we all have to save. So no, it's true. Yeah, I used to wear those vests during my vlogs, right? So you're referring to that. Very, very, very good observation here, Jakob. So must be a regular. JJ, how much do you think Amazon can ride for Q1? You know, anything. I mean, think about the investors that are currently out there. Okay, the investors looking for those stocks that can thrive their portfolio after big losses, right? So what they will do, they will pick those winners and go for them and put their money in a safe haven, right? So I can imagine that Amazon could go 7%, 5%, 10% after earnings, you know. Maybe everything is priced in. Maybe I'm stupid to say this, but maybe everything is priced in. The markets are so crazy that it's absolutely insane to try to forecast something. So, and Cybertruck, what about MJ stocks like ACB, CGC, Sage go up? What do you mean by MJ? Is this Michael Jackson stocks? I don't know the stocks, so let me know what kind of stocks those are. I can definitely look them up, and you know, we can talk about maybe in the next stream. Yeah, so those are the questions so far. Let us go back a little bit on the today's topic, where we talked about the insider trading. So we got already Carnival Cruise insiders are buying. We know that MGM casinos people are buying. And now we also see here that Nike director John W. Rogers Jr. bought another 79K worth of shares last week after having purchased 211K worth of shares the prior week. Nike is an international athletic wear brand. I love the brand, by the way. It's a great stock. It's a great company. The company is generating astonishing returns on investment capital of almost 30%, which particularly explains its rich valuation. That's true. Nike is usually very expensive, in my personal opinion. Therefore, I'm not a Nike investor yet. But, you know, never say never. And therefore, I believe that, you know, Nike is a totally fantastic brand. And the last earnings, Nike was one of the first companies that announced earnings in this current environment. And what we have seen, obviously, that the store sales went down, but guess what? The online sales absolutely was crushing it, and I think Nike was up that day 5 or 7%. So you see how people are reacting on earnings like that. So, back to the question quick, if Amazon and Netflix can crash their earnings, absolutely. Absolutely. I think, this will be super interesting. I would love to be in both of them, maybe also just short-term trades. But I want to wait a little bit how the week goes. I think we are still having a little bit of time. Let me just look up where Netflix earnings date. So let's have a look. So Netflix apparently will have their earnings on the 21st of April. Okay, so this is a couple of days from now, about a week. So I think on next Tuesday or Wednesday, after the market is closing. All right, so we have a good week time, and I want to a little bit wait because the last week was absolutely crazy. The market was pulled so much up that I think there's now a good downturn potential, and then I can easily and nicely go in towards end of the week, position myself into some earnings trades. Let me see, Amazon earnings date. Let's have a look. 2 days later then Netflix on the 23rd, so this must be somewhere around Thursday or Wednesday, and they will report. It doesn't mention if it's pre-market or aftermarket. Let's see if we see something on the Nasdaq side. Yeah, it doesn't say if it's aftermarket or pre-market. So usually it's also aftermarket, I think, as I know it from Amazon. But you see, we have still a week of time to position ourselves into something interesting. But definitely those stocks are great stocks to own. Also for the long term, I think from all the streaming, if you're thinking old TV, think about old TV. How many channels do you had? 30, 50. When the TV evolved, we had like 100, 200 channels, right? So think about now we have how many channels in total. We have like Netflix, we had Amazon Prime, we have Apple Plus, and we have Disney Plus. So 4 main, obviously Hulu and many others. So let's say we have 10 big streaming or 10 networks. So I think there's space for everyone, and I think Netflix have really good content and they can thrive through that very, very well. So maybe interesting really for the absolute future to see where these stocks are going. So thank you very much for answering my previous questions, obviously. And there is the question about the recent spike in NIO and Uber stock. I'm not so much in both of them, so I cannot, say anything that much. Okay, MJ stocks were in the greenfield stocks area. I have no idea. I also don't follow them. They are big mystery for me. Same like, let's say, blockchain or penny stocks, So I don't follow those kind of stocks. Tesla Q1 should be next week as well, I think. That is going to be big, hopefully, yeah. Pedro Santos, what's your opinion on oil in the short term? You think this agreement is going to have impact on oil price, or is it another pump and dump? Well, I think oil is general pump, in literally speaking. No, jokes aside, I think that I think Putin, the president of Russia, said it quite nicely. He said, "Deal or no deal." that's not the question here. We have a demand problem. We have a huge demand problem. Obviously, short term, this deal should help. I think it's until May or June. Let's see how the situation evolves. And if the deal helps and the situation get better and people drive more, and maybe in the very, very big spectacle of allowing air travel and this kind of things, then we can see a comeback, a big comeback for oil. But short term, mid-term, let's say, it's always all depend on the situation. Like with everything, could be also just a quick spike and then we go to lower levels, because if there's no demand for a product, then the prices go down. Okay, so we just spoke about those insider trades, right? We spoke about Amazon, we spoke about Nike, and I want to show you by history what those insider trades are meaning. So are they meaningful? Are they not meaningful? But I think the graph says it all. So you can see here on this graph from 1995 over to 2000s, then to 2010s and the 2020s, that we had the spikes over and over again when insider guys from the companies are bought stocks. But this stock insider buying is currently a record. So insiders of companies are thinking that this will be soon over, and but another thing to be very careful here. If you see around 2007, we have seen not one spike, we have seen several spikes. So the people were buying because they don't know if it's already the bottom or not, or do it get worse, right? It got worse in the end, and you see the spike. So maybe we see a couple of spikes as the stock market will lose some weight in the next couple of days. So we shall see. But as you can see, the stocks buyback, or the stocks, sorry, not the stocks buyback, the stocks purchasing by insiders is absolutely on a record niveau. So the inside people are very, very much convinced that those are very good prices right now. So I think we are very, very much expensive right now. If you watched one of my recent videos, the thumbnail with the big 19 on it, then you will see that the current stock market is very high in value, though we are not on the price wise same like we were in mid of Feb, but from value wise, from the PE ratios, we are so expensive, and therefore I think there's more let's say down potential as well, right? Let's see what do we have any other questions? Nothing so far. I want to just make a quick, short introduction to today's vlog, because I think it's one of a very nice vlog that I did just a couple of hours ago. I posted it on my main channel, where I talk about 5 or 4 forever holding stocks and why. So if you're interested, make sure to check this out. Also, I'm sure that those stocks will go up in value. So much convinced I am that I'm also would say that this is maybe a good investment for your stimulus check, if you get one, if you're in the US, right? I think people in the Europe, they will not get such a beautiful thing. But let's see. I think in the end of the day, I think a lot of people will need some cash in the hand, and to make this all better. And therefore, I think that's a wrap. Thank you very much for watching, and I see you tomorrow.